Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the mdlove podcast. How are you doing today? Today is Sunday, December 22nd. Today is exactly 1 week since my Instagram account was taken down. And doesn't matter how many emails I sent them and how many times I have begged them basically to bring it back, they haven't yet. The frustrating thing about it is that I don't even know what I did. Um, they take down the account, years of work, and they don't even give you explanation. One thing that I don't get, and um, I said it somewhere, if they think that I posted something wrong or commented on something, they could have taken down the post or whatever. Why the entire account? That's something that I don't understand. Like, why be so harsh? The fact that I can still see the name on Google when I'm searching for the account name gives me a little bit of hope that maybe it's not gone forever and they will bring it back at some point. Maybe they have this a system of punishment or something when they just make you think that you're lost your account forever, but you're not really. I have no idea what's going on. I don't understand the rules. They don't make sense to me. But I gotta accept reality for what it is. Um, like I said before, it happened to me in the past. In January of this year, they took it down, and I got help from someone, and of course I paid him for it. And I decided that I'm not gonna do it again because there's no point paying for it over and over again because there's no guarantee they won't do it again in a few months. So, I can't invest my money in this, even though this account is very important to me. Um, but like a friend of mine said, you're not making money from this. So if this was a business and you were making money from this, then, it's okay to take out money for this, to spend money on this, but you're not. So, and yes, I know it's not all about money. To me, it's the emotional investment in this thing, but she's right. If this was an actual business, then maybe I would have cared more and I would have spent the money. But right now, I don't see the point. Unfortunately, I don't. So I may get it back, I may not. I know that I'm driving them crazy, and I keep sending emails, and I do whatever I can for free, and I'm hoping that I'll get it back, and if I won't, it's fine. I'll live with it or without it. Anyway, I'm moving on, and even though at first I thought, what's the point of continuing? Because, that account was also, I used it as a tool to promote this blog, and not blog, sorry, this podcast. And yes, of course, I also have a blog on blogger.com. And I used my Instagram account to promote both. And that's how I got readers and listeners. And I know that it's going to be much harder now that I can't post it anywhere to get views. But it's okay. It's okay. I'm still hopeful. I'm still going to do what I promised to do. And I am here to support Michael, to tell the true story of who he is. And, I'm going to continue because it's just a setback. It's not the end of the world. And I'm continuing in full power. And I've prepared an episode for you today. And like I said in this post from a few hours ago, today is a rainy day. It's gray outside. It's cold. It's like the perfect winter day to sit down around the fire. And this is why I'm calling this Winter Edition Fireside Reflections, because we're going to reflect on a few things. that I have seen this week, heard this week, and I'm going to talk about it. And so, like I say in every episode, grab your cup of tea or your hot cocoa, whatever you're into, and stay tuned and listen. And of course, if you like what I say or you have something to say about what you hear, please use the comment section and let me know what you think. If you have questions, send them over. And okay, so let's start.
Welcome to the mdlove podcast, where truth takes a stance, celebrating Michael with facts that enhance. Ready? Let's dance.
Okay. What do you say about this intro? I kind of like it. It's basically just I wanted something, with movement or whatever. I think I said that last time. No, it's been like over 2 weeks. I can't remember everything I said. But yeah, I think I explained that I just wanted something with movement. That Ron Pia, if you follow him on Facebook, he kind of inspired me to do that. Okay, anyway, let's start with the very first thing I saw this week. I don't know how that happened, but a lot of the stuff was recommended to me on YouTube. Some things I've seen before, some things I knew about, but I never really gave them the right attention. So I have listened to interviews of Taj Jackson and Brandy Jackson with this guy, Zigler. I don't remember his first name. I think it's John Zigler. I'm not sure. I don't remember Zigler. And I gotta say, I've listened to a few interviews he did about Living Neverland, and I have to say, the way he talks about it, about the injustice, he explains there that he was one of those people who believed Michael was guilty. Like he had no doubt Michael is guilty. And then, of course, he did his journalistic work, like most journalists are supposed to do. And he found out the truth. He found out that the stories the accusers have told just don't make sense. And, he learned what's really going on. He learned who Michael really is and how there is no way he was guilty. And he talks about everything with such passion that, one, it makes me really emotional. I almost start crying every time I hear him. And it reminded me just how emotional we all are, basically, when it comes to Michael. We show it in different ways, but we are all just heartbroken because of the injustice Michael had to endure, and still do till this day. From what I know, there's supposed to be a trial sometime in 2025 with these two buttheads. But anyway, let's hope that everything will the truth will come out to light when the biopic will come out. People will understand the real story. I think not a lot of people will take the time to watch documentaries, like Square One or Loving Neverland, or the one I've seen this week, Humanitarian, the real Michael Jackson, or listen to interviews with the Zigler guy and the Jacksons, and people won't do that. They won't take the time to learn the truth. So if there is a way, like a movie, like a biopic, where they can share the truth in a more entertaining way, first of all, that's a brilliant way to kind of inform people, to educate people about what happened, or to at least make them question their beliefs. If somebody is going to go to watch this movie thinking Michael is guilty and they're going to change their mind simply because they watched the movie, that's going to be epic, right? And so yeah, people are not going to take the time, but guess who did take the time? I did, and so many others. I've seen those things have hundreds of thousands of views, which is makes me really happy. People are learning the truth. I believe that just like myself, since 2019, since that documentary came out, a lot of people have learned the truth. And mainly because, you know what, a lot of the information we didn't know about the 93 case, about the 2005 case, a lot of things, a lot of details in the story never really came out. You know, like how did Michael even know those people? Where did they come from? What's their story? You know, their background, what really happened. You know, we didn't know. I had no idea about the 93 story. You know, how he met the family, the 2005 story, how he even met the family. So those stories are coming out, I believe, this 2019. I'm sure there are fans who knew the stories long before that, but I believe the majority of the public who are maybe not part of the fandom, and maybe are now becoming part of the fandom because they realized what they did to Michael and how unfairly he was treated. So you know, now they know the truth, probably thanks to the mockumentary. You know, in a way, even though it was like the worst movie ever created, in a way, I think we should say thank you that it was created, because it made people see the truth or learn the truth. So, you know, we gotta see the good in everything, right? That's what I learned. So, if you haven't yet listened to those interviews with Taj Jackson, Randy Jackson, with Zigler, please do yourself a huge favor and listen to it, because you're going to learn a lot of stuff that you may never knew before. Even if you are a huge fan and you know Michael is innocent, maybe you will learn new details about this whole scandal. Like, did you know, and maybe I've heard it before, but I didn't remember that. Did you know that the mother of Wade Robson, I think her name is June, but I'm not sure. It doesn't matter. But anyway, she offered to, I think, to Taj or Brandy. She talked to one of them on the phone. I think it was Brandy. She talked to her and offered to take Michael's kids, to adopt them, because she thought that it's not a good idea that the kids will be with their grandma. Did you know that she offered that? Doesn't that tell her that she's insane? She actually thought to adopt Michael's children because they believed he is dead. That they will be with her will make more sense to the world, or to, in her mind, it made more sense that the kids will be with her than with the family. They're actual with their grandma, with the uncles, the aunts, you know, the Jacksons. Like, do you understand how crazy this whole family is? Do you understand who we are dealing with? Like, that's one detail that I either heard before and I didn't remember, or I didn't know, but that blew my mind, really. Basically, from what I have heard in that interview, they, like in the first week or two after Michael was announced dead, they were trying to stay close with the Jacksons because Wade was only relevant to the industry, to the Hollywood industry, when Michael was there, you know, to back him up. Without Michael, he had no job, he had nothing. You know, he couldn't rely on his talent, no talent actually. If you send him dance, he has zero talent. But you know, he couldn't rely on his so-called talent. He could only rely on his connection to Michael Jackson. So once Michael was gone, he had to be as close as he could to the Jacksons. And when that didn't work for him, he decided to somehow get money from him knowing, or that, the fact that he used to know Michael, he will somehow make money from that. So he decided to become evil, or maybe he was always evil, but he took out his evil side and he decided to use that to get money from MJ's estate and whatever. I think what he needs to be somehow connected to Michael, whether it's in a good way or a bad way. He always needs to be connected to Michael and the Jacksons. And even though he is a monster, there is a side of me that feels bad for him, because he will never really enjoy anything in life. He could have just stayed with the good memories from the times he spent with Michael. Instead, he decided to live in this dark, twisted world, or dark, twisted mindset, So yeah, in a way, I feel bad for him and the other guy who is, I don't know. They said in the interview, and I totally agree with it, that it looks like he's going to snap any second. It looks like he is dying to tell the truth, but he is afraid of someone. Either Robson is threatening him or someone else, I don't know, but it looks, at least on the outside, that he is not okay with what's going on, that maybe he didn't expect things to go this far. But I don't know. It looks like he's gonna break. At least in the interview with Cobra, I haven't watched it, but I think I've watched a short clip of it somewhere on social media, and he has this guilt look on his face. It could be my interpretation, but I don't know. That's what I saw. I do remember this one interview when the female interviewer read this letter from the Jacksons, and while she read it, saying that they should be ashamed of themselves for what they're doing, Safechuck was kind of nodding, and he became red, and he looked guilty. He looked guilty, and he looked sorry in a way. Maybe he kind of had this sorry face, but and it is possible that he feels this way, but he's not allowed to say anything because he's afraid of someone. The truth can be scary sometimes. Hopefully one day he will have a spine and tell the truth, Unlikely that's gonna happen, but whatever. I do wonder, if there is going to be a trial in 2025, and the court will again find those people liars. Are they going to be punished for it in some way? Are they going to take out money? Are they going to need to pay someone? Are they going to go to prison? Something needs to happen. They need to be punished. They lied. They played with the public's feelings, for those people who believed them, they played with them, they played with their minds, with their feelings. They try to destroy a man's image. They hurt his family. So are they going to pay for it once people realize that they are liars? I don't know. I don't understand how the law works. But we'll see. We're going to have to wait and see. Anyway, that's one thing that I've seen this week, this Zigler guy. And I just wanted to talk about how passionate he is when he's talking about things. And I really recommend you guys to go listen to those interviews. They're fascinating. All the angles that they bring to the story are really fascinating. And listen to him when he is talking about how the world, the press, and the accusers have treated Michael, when in fact he's one of the greatest guys this world will ever know. So that's one thing that I wanted to share with you today. One more thing that I have seen, I think it was yesterday. Yeah. Another documentary that I knew about, I kept seeing the headline, but I never actually saw it from beginning to end. It is called Humanitarian, the real Michael Jackson. And in that documentary that was beautifully made, they showed all the charity work that Michael was involved in. The time he spent with sick children. Um, just they really just showed his heart, just how much he cared about people, mainly children, that he really couldn't stand seeing a child hurting, that he did whatever he could to help people, that he really took it as a mission on himself to heal the world, heal the children. And he worked so hard for it. And the entire time that I've seen it, that I was watching the documentary, all I could think of is how dare the press take this man, this character that has so much depth, that is, he's highly intelligent, he has the biggest heart in the world, he really does. He was sweet and loving and funny, and he was so many things. And they took that character and they twisted everything so much, and they turned him into this one-dimensional character. They made the world think that he's this childish guy, that all he does all day is play with kids, that all he cares about was his looks and his money, that all he does is go to stores and spend tons of money, that he doesn't want to grow up, that he doesn't care about anything that a man should or supposed to care about, like women, or like they turned things into, like they told us such stupid stories that has nothing to do with who he really is. And unfortunately, a lot of people till this day, they believe the stories simply because they keep repeating those stories. And you know what they say, all you gotta do is tell a lie long enough to make it sound real, you know. And I think this is one of the reasons. No, I don't think. I know this is one of the reasons I do what I do. I keep repeating the same message over and over again, because if they can tell the same stupid stories over and over again and make people believe that Michael is this weird guy, whatever they told about him, then we, all of us, should and supposed to tell the real stories about him over and over again, so that people will see who he really is, and that their stories make no sense. The truth is important, especially when it comes to Michael, because he gave so much. And people need to realize he didn't have to help anyone, ever. He could have made crazy amount of money, keep it to himself, maybe give to charity every once in a while, He didn't have to go to orphanages, hospitals. He didn't have to donate to nobody ever. He doesn't have to do it. But he did, because he cared. He truly, truly cared about people, and mainly children. And, instead of the world thanking him and celebrating him, we just tore this man apart. And for what? For what? For money? Like, what are those people going to do with this money? Those people who want the catalog, those people that, accused him of horrible things. What are they going to do with that money? Since when is that money more important than a man's life, than a man's dignity, than the truth? Since when is money more important than the truth? those people with their twisted mindset, they should all pay. And we should all be there to see them pay. They say that, you should never celebrate when your enemy falls. At least that's the rule in my religion. But I gotta tell you, if I'll see one of those people who are on the list of the people who hurt him, if something happens to them, I am definitely going to celebrate. For sure, I'm going to celebrate. I don't care. Because let's face it, every enemy of Michael is an enemy of us, and if they're falling, we should definitely celebrate. And that's really what I have to say about that. So go watch Humanitarian, the real Michael Jackson. I don't know if you guys will respond to it the way I did. I was emotional about it. I'm emotional about everything that has to do with Michael, to be honest. But maybe you guys are also, because, we love him. We can't hide it. We love him. And we care about him and his true story, and we should fight for it. Until the truth will come out and until people will understand who he really is and what really happened. Okay? Okay, and now to our third and final topic, something that I wanted to bring up. So I don't know if you know, but among of the many things that I do, I also have a blog on blogger.com. And in the last few days, I have been reading some stuff that I've written in the past, and I came across this post that I wrote in February of last year. And I thought it was interesting, and I wanted to share it with you. And you guys, you can use the comment section to, I would love to hear your opinion on what I wrote. And the piece is called, Will the Real Michael Jackson Please Stand Up? So I'm going to read it to you, and then we're going to talk about it. Okay? And as I said, this was written on February 24th, 2023. Some time ago, I posted in social media a post about how I am not one of those fans who think Michael is a god or an angel, that he is only human, and it's time for everyone to just accept it and accept him as he is. As amazing as he is only human, and I love him and support him because of who he really is, and not the idea of who he is or who I or other moonwalkers believe he is. I was thinking at the time that after everything I read about him and watched, after all what I considered an intense research, I know exactly who he is, that I may not know everything about him, but I know a lot, and what I know about him is enough for me to determine who he really is. This week, I came across 2 videos of 2 individuals who knew him well. One was a woman who dated him, I believe, in late 70s through early 80s, and another is a very close friend of Michael who I believe is still in contact with him today. They both said something that I heard LMP saying to Cobra, and even though I never liked most of the things she said about Michael, I will have to believe her about that because the other 2 basically confirmed it. All 3 of them said that Michael never showed his real self to the public, that once the cameras were there, he would turn into the cop, and the fans never got to see the real Michael. When Lisa said it, I took it as if she called him fake, that what we saw is not who he is, and that he has been fooling us all for all those years, so I was mad at her. When I heard the other 2 saying basically the same thing, I thought that it must have meant to the public, Michael only showed one side of himself. The good, gentle guy with a soft voice that just wants to help as many people as possible, and he is using his fame and public image to do so. And he is keeping something of himself to himself. How can you be mad at that? I know through my massive research that he also has a gangster side, that he swears, he says the F word and other things, something he had never done in public, which is understandable. I think he is just being responsible. Knowing children always watching him, he had to act a certain way. There is a limit to how much of your real self you can show when you know how many people are watching your every move. Not to mention how he was heavily criticized for every single thing he said or did. And sometimes he was judged for things he didn't do at all. As you know, most of the stories about him came from the twisted imagination of the press. They were making up those stories and then allowed themselves to criticize him for those made-up tales. Can you imagine having to live your life under constant criticism, and not even for something you actually said or did? So I can understand wanting to keep some parts of himself private. Maybe at some point, after Michael noticing that all the press is looking for is a show, that all they care about are shiny headlines, he decided to give them a show every time he was followed by electric eyes. And that is why we never got to see the real Michael, because whenever he was, so was the press. And maybe because he was simply a showman. He wanted to entertain. He had to put on an act. Let's face it, whenever he was out with the fans, he was basically at work. Even if he just stood at the hotel balcony or went to a restaurant, he was watched. And when people are watching an entertainer, he will do something to entertain. Maybe I'm in denial, but it's hard for me to believe that Michael was ever fake. I think that what we saw was just one part of him, and that part was real. And I'm okay with whatever he kept for himself. I remember that I wrote that post on Instagram about how we should love Michael for who he really is. But I had this worry that if and when he comes back, people will see things in him that they never thought he can have. Nothing bad, just human. Some personality traits that are perfectly okay for other people to have. But since some people have this idea of who he is or how he should be, then they won't accept the real him and stop supporting him, and the press will use that against him to again destroy his image. Whenever I think about it, it reminds me of why I started supporting him and why I created all those past YouTube shows and podcasts. I couldn't stand the thought of him being remembered as this made-up character and not for who he really is. And yes, maybe there were some things we never got to see because he chose not to show it. And instead of again judging him for that, people should just respect his choices. However, we know who he is. Otherwise, we wouldn't support him. We know he is a good-hearted man that cared about people and their suffering. And he did whatever he could to help as many people possible, mainly children, because he couldn't stand knowing a child is hurting. He worked very hard for his art, his music, his dancing. He gave his blood, sweat, and tears for his craft. We all know that this is why we are always there. We are always here because he gave us so much, no matter the challenges he faced as a celebrity and as a private man. He never gave up. I'm not going to either. If I may share somewhat of a personal thing, for a long time I felt guilty for closing my channel and that I stopped creating shows as often as I did. From 2019 until the end of 2021, I created things daily, from simple tribute videos to cartoon shows and podcasts, always looking for ways to celebrate him and to tell his true story. It was important to me to tell people about the real Michael, the one I absolutely fell in love with. Anyway, when that was over, for reasons I will not share here, I felt bad. I kept posting things to social media, but I always compared it to what I used to do, and it never felt like enough. From distance of time, seeing what I have done since the closing of my channel and seeing how I never gave up, no matter how hard it was for me sometimes to be in this fandom for reasons I will again keep for myself, it really showed me just how much I love this man and how much I am willing to put up with just to show him love. I listened to the Rabbi Shmuley tapes and I heard Michael saying that everything he did, all his hard work and everything he gave is all because he wanted to be loved, to feel loved wherever he goes. So that is why I'm still here and never leaving, no matter what I have to face in this sometimes crazy fandom. Wherever you are, Michael, know that you are very much loved, and I will never stop showing you that in all kinds of ways. So, as I said, this is something that I wrote in February of 2023. Yes, for those of you who don't know, I had a past life here on YouTube. I had other podcasts, sometimes with co-hosts, sometimes by myself. I had cartoon shows. I had all kinds of stuff here that, for reasons I will not share right now, maybe one day, if I'll ever want to talk to you about scammers in the fandom. If you want me to talk about scammers in the fandom, then let me know in the comment section and I will tell you my story. But basically, because I was scammed by someone who I believed was a friend, I deleted everything in my account. And basically in March of this year I kind of started over. I came back because, like I said in this blog, Michael is very, very important to me, and his story is very important, and the truth is very important. This is why I will always continue to do what I do, even if they're closing my Instagram account, even if people are trashing me, no matter what I go through in this fandom, how many crazy people I'm going to talk to, everything. I've been through a lot in this almost 6 years that I've been doing this, and so many times I wanted to quit, but I do have to say that I always, in the back of my mind, I always remember that I'm doing this for him. This is not about those people, or it's not about me, it's about Michael. And as long as he needs his story to be told, his truth to be told, I'm gonna do this. So that's basically what this post is about. For those of you who may or may not know, I am not crazy about Lisa Marie, or at least how she talked about Michael after the divorce, how she described him, or the reason they divorced. I don't totally believe her. There are things that, I feel like she should have taken responsibility for, but she chose not to. She chose to blame it all on him. So even though I know Michael isn't perfect, I am on his side simply because I don't believe her. And again, not because I think Michael is perfect, but because she tells the story blaming it all on him, not taking responsibility for anything on her side. And that bothered me. So if she thinks this is 100% his fault, I'm going to say this is 100% her fault. Even though it takes two to tango, but whatever. I'm siding with Michael. Okay, I want to be objective, but I can't. Okay, I can't. So anyway, this was the episode of today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I definitely enjoyed talking to you. And I don't know when is the next episode going to be, or what we're going to talk about. If there is something you want me to talk about, if you have questions, if again I mentioned that I was scammed here in the past, if you want me to talk about that, sure. I mean, I'm not really loving talking about this, but I think it's important because I believe those people are still around in the fandom scamming people. So maybe I should give some warning signs. So let me know if you guys want me to talk about it. And yeah, thank you for listening. I love you. Have a great week. And I will talk to you soon.